Greetings, commanders. With first step you should be done. I mean, you should already be satisfied with your input devices and controls. You should know which keys you should have, which are more important, which are not so important. Second step is to read your HUD. So now I will explain you what is what on your HUD. And let's start with top left corner where you can see COM panel. If you have a key set, keybind under options controls, you can open quick comms. You can write to local here. You can write to any player. But you need to select players, and you can do that at the second tab. Here you can see 4 players are, 1 is scanned, 3 are unknown for me, and my friends. Here you can actually send wing invite, request voice comm, send friend request, block player, report player, and obviously text chat. So in the first tab you can see all messages from NPCs and players. Write back to players. At second tab you can see online players in same instance as you are locally, and all your online friends, as well as see in what game modes they are currently in. Here you will see friend requests. You can accept or deny them here. Under this tab you will see some messages from powers. Sometimes missions will have alternate endings or alternate rewards. You will see here these messages. And the last tab is settings. Here you can set some settings for your comms panel. Text channels, local, on-off voice, wing, text channels, direct message from players on-off, auto-enable wing voice comms. If you use TeamSpeak, you probably want to set it off. But if you want to use in-game voice comms, you can set it on, and automatically when you form a wing, you will have a voice channel between you. Let's close this. On top right you see info panel. Not so important and time sensitive information is shown there. It's more like a ship's log, like new contacts, lost contacts, frameshift drive online. If you kill wanted ship you will see the amount of bounty there. If you use discovery scanners you will see how many bodies you discovered, so not so important information goes there. From comms panel and info panel let's move to much more important things that ship is trying to tell you. And let's start with heat signature. It's shown in wave form, so the bigger the waves, the easier is your ship to be resolved on other ship sensors. Everything on your ship generates heat, all modules and weapons. Thermic weapons generate more heat than kinetic weapons, but all in all everything generates heat. There is silent run mode that you can use if you want to hide your ship, but it will not completely hide your ship from other ship sensors. You will still be there, they will see something appearing and disappearing. They will not be able to target you, and you will be resolved on their sensors if you are closer than 500-600 meters depending on rating of enemy ship sensors. And visually you will always be seen anyway. So if you are smuggling it's useful, you turn silent run on, and authority ships who want to scan you will have to be very close to you, and usually you are pretty safe with silent run. Next is fuel consumption. So currently my fuel consumption is 1.18 per hour. Below this you see supercruise and regular flight fuel tank. When this fuel tank is emptied, you are taking fuel from main fuel tank, and main fuel tank is used only for hyperspace jumps. But there's one important thing to know. Your power plant uses fuel. So if you leave your ship for many hours and you come back, don't be surprised to see all modules turned offline and your ship destroyed. And below you see mass locked, landing gear and cargo scoop. These are indicators. If they are blue, you are mass locked or your landing gear and cargo scoop is deployed. You can't hyperjump or supercruise, you can't use your frameshift drive while you are mass locked, landing gear is out or cargo scope is out. Same if your hardpoints are deployed, you also can't use frameshift drive. Basically these indicators means that you can't use your frameshift drive. Mass locked you can be if you are in asteroid fields or near a station, so just fly away. Landing gear and cargo scoop you must manually retract if they are deployed, so if you can't start your frameshift drive, check if your landing gear, cargo scoop, weapons are deployed or you are mass locked. Now let's move to power distributor, which in my opinion is the most important part of your ship, because it allows to greatly increase some stats for your weapons, engines and shields. You should already have set keys for these. Usually it distributes 1 pip. So there are 6 full pips or 12 half pips. By adding 1 pip to any of those capacitors, you will take half pip from other 2 capacitors. And the maximum you can set to any capacitor is 4 pips. And by clicking reset, you will distribute evenly all 6 pips between all 3 capacitors, so 2, 2, 2. Why is this important? First of all, weapons. Pips to weapons will not increase your weapon damage. This is only for cooling weapons, so if you use weapons which generate a lot of heat, you will need more pips to weapons. An example, plasma, beam laser. If you use weapons that do not generate much heat, like cannons, multi-cannons, you will be fine with 1-2 pips to weapons. And if your capacitor is empty and you have 0 pips, you will not be able to fire any weapon. So this is only for cooling your weapons. But if you have bigger capacitor, obviously if you upgrade your power coupling, you will be able to shoot for longer period of time because you will have bigger pool of energy there to cool your weapons. Engines. 4 pips to engines will allow you to use maximum speed your ship can achieve. And the increment is linear here, so with 2 pips you will be exactly halfway between 0 and 4 pips. But 0 pips to engines for different ships is different. An example, for Vulture, with 0 pips to engines you will have 90% of its maximum speed. For Viper 60%, for Type 9 30%, so it is really different for each ship. So if you need maximum speed, 4 pips to engines. And by upgrading power coupling and having a bigger pool in engine capacitor, you'll be able to boost more often. So boost also takes this capacitor. An example, with the basic capacitors you'll be able to boost only once and then you'll have to wait for capacitors to almost fully recharge. With best capacitors you can boost almost indefinitely. Let's move to system, which in my opinion again is probably the most important part of all capacitors because it has the greatest impact on shields. Shields with 4 pips to systems are around 2.5 times stronger than shields with 0 pips to system. So obviously when you are under fire you should always have 4 pips to systems. Simple as that. Power coupling, class and rating does not influence speed, recharge speed of your shield. It will always be 1 megajoule per second. So bigger ships can take up to 15-20 minutes to fully recharge shields. But for that you have shield cell banks that can recharge your shields faster. And if you know how to set macros, I would advise you to do that. Default, you will distribute 1 pip. My macros will distribute 4 pips, so if I click like pips to engines, I have 4 pips to engines. If I need to weapons, I click once and I have 4 pips to weapons. And same goes for systems, 1 click and 4 pips. Very useful in combat and even outside combat. Left from power distributor you can see your ship details. Shields, 1 ring is 33%, 1 blue ring. So 3 rings, 100% shields, and hull integrity 100%. If you have selected target ship, you can see same information about target ship. If it has shields, you will see rings of shields and hull integrity. And on the left from this you can see target information panel for selected target, like commander's name or NPC name, its combat level, master, if it's clean or wanted, and what power or faction it belongs to. And if you have selected any subsystem, you can see, in this case, power plant 100%. If you haven't selected any target, you will see your location information there. On the left from your ship you can see speed indicator with current throttle position and blue sweet spot. If you want to turn faster, you need to have your throttle at blue sweet spot. If you have above or below, your turning rates will be much slower. So if you want to have your ship most agile, you should have 4 pips to engines and throttle in blue sweet spot. Left from speed indicator you can see your sensors or radar. There you can see your ship as a triangle in the middle, and you can see which ships are above or below you. So you can pitch up and down depending on where they are. If triangle or rectangle is on top of line, ships are above you. If rectangle or triangle are below the line, ships below you. Simple as that. You can also distinguish other commanders from NPCs. Commanders will be flying hollow rectangles and triangles, and NPCs filled rectangles and triangles. And the difference between rectangle and triangle is very simple. Rectangle hardpoints retracted, so no immediate threat to you. Triangle hardpoints deployed. It means ship is ready to fire or scan you. So you can very easily see where other ships are, is that commander or NPC, and if that ship has hardpoints deployed or retracted. And different colors also will tell you different story. White rectangles are canisters or frameshift drive eggs. In regular flight you can see 2 kinds of frameshift drive eggs: high energy, it's hyperspace, and low energy to supercruise. Yellow are neutral ships. Green are allied ships. Blue are your wing members. And red ships are hostile, meaning that they probably already fired at you. And ships flashing red to white and back are ships firing at something. Before 1.4 update, red flashing white meant ships are firing at you. But after 1.4 they are firing at something. So use this information also to understand what's going on around you. Left from sensors you can see internal heat level. Do not exceed 100%, or at least try not to. If you exceed your heat above 100%, your modules will start taking damage. Above 140 or so percent, your hull will start taking damage. The exact percentage is different from ship to ship, but usually it's around 140–50%. The fastest way to get rid of heat is if you have heatsink launcher to launch a heatsink. Most heat is generated by frameshift drive, boost, shield cell banks firing thermic weapons like plasma, railguns, and different ships handle heat differently. Anaconda, an example, is very good at heat handling. You can overheat, but it's much harder. But Lakon Type 679 or Hauler, if you try to fuel scoop, you will see that heat is increasing very fast. So different ships handle heat differently, but don't exceed 100% or try not to. And if you have any navigation object selected, including station, the compass will pop up between target panel and sensors. And it's very easy to read it because you will see only blue circle inside it. If the blue circle is filled, the target is in front of you. If the blue circle is hollow, target is behind you. And compass will also show you your landing pad's location. If it's outpost, you can see it right away. If it's station, you need to enter letterbox and then you will see exactly where your landing pad is. So it's easy to dock. That's it about your HUD. You are one step closer to becoming a good pilot. Fly safe, commanders.